Hi, I'm Perry Atkinson, General Manager here at theDove. Hey, check out our other videos and check out our website at thedove.us. Well, welcome to Focus Today. I'm your host, Perry Atkinson. Always a delight to have in the studio Nisha Jackson. She heads up Ventana Wellness. She's sipping her coffee because she doesn't want to have a low coming around 1 or 2 o'clock this afternoon. And that's what we're here to talk about, beating the afternoon fatigue, right?
Right.
Can we do it?
We can do it. We have a plan.
You have a plan?
We have a plan.
I just want to ask one simple question. Is water in the plan?
Water's in the plan.
Okay.
Water's always in the plan.
That's all we need to know. So now you can contact her. VentanaWellness.com. That's the website. Well, this is a biggie because, as I said earlier today, I've tried not to have anything sweet at lunch.
Yes,
I
heard
have
you
a
say
protein
that.
lunch. Now, I'm not always good at this. I'm not a purist here by any means, but I learned if I have something sweet at lunch, after lunch, if I had a piece of cake, candy, or pie, which is tempting to do around here, I'd get the crash about half hour later.
Yes, especially if you're susceptible to blood sugar highs and lows.
Yeah.
Some people actually never get the highs, they just go right to the low.
Yeah.
But if you're susceptible to that, you have a family history of diabetes, you have a family history of being overweight, obesity, or if you have a family history or personal history of low blood sugar, hypoglycemia, if you eat something sweet after lunch, within 30 minutes to an hour, you should be hitting the bottom. So that's one of the easiest things you can do to clear that up. But one of the things I wanted to explain to people today is that we actually have a circadian rhythm in our bodies, right? Which means a natural rhythm of hormones and a natural rhythm of sleep patterns that we have built into our system. And the interesting thing is that there are 2 times during a 24-hour period of time that we get sleep signals. And one of them is obviously at 10 o'clock at night. We get a pretty major sleep signal, which tells our body it's time to go to bed. That's the normal rhythm. But guess when we have another one? 2 p.m.
Yeah.
So it's part of our natural rhythm to have a sleep signal, which means we probably should be having some kind of a siesta.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really not that far off.
Yeah.
Because our body's telling us to take a rest at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So we probably should be doing that, but that's not really how we're set up in today's working world.
We go to the coffee pot.
Right. We grab some sugar, we grab some coffee, we grab something to try to get us back up again. But it's normal to feel tired at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So I want to make sure that everybody knows that, because so many times people think there's something really wrong with them because they have the afternoon sleepiness. Wow. So if you can't take a cat nap at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, there are some other things that you can do. So I want to tell you what you can do.
I was trying to figure out another way to justify the couch in my office.
It's really not a bad idea to take a nap, because even a power nap, which is what we really suggest, it's sometime between noon and 2, not really after 2 p.m. because then that interferes with your sleep at night. But if you can take a 10 to 20 minute power nap between 12 and 2, it actually would be right in line with your own body rhythms. But there are other things that you can do that I'm going to recommend.
Well, is the cycle only one of the symptoms that would cause it? I mean, you're saying we have a natural low at 2-ish in the afternoon.
Yes, it's a natural circadian rhythm. If your circadian rhythms are even on target, some people don't have normal rhythms because they're working through the night or they're staying up too late, and it interferes with their natural sleep pattern. So they may not be getting it at 2 naturally, but there's lots of other things that can cause you to feel tired during the afternoon. And those are the things I want to focus on today, is stopping those things and adding some natural health style habits, some changes that would get you a little bit more awake in the afternoon.
Go for it.
All right. First of all, one of the worst things we can do, which seems like everybody does today, is sitting in front of the computer for more than 2 hours at a time, looking at a screen. Because the problem is that we get eye strain. Our eyes become strained when we're looking at a computer for more than 2 hours at a time. So unless you're going to go out and get some special computer glasses, which are available now to prevent eye strain, I would recommend that you take a break from the computer, and instead of sending somebody an email in another department or an email to one of your friends, to actually get up and pick up the phone or walk over to their cubicle, wherever they might be working, and talk to them. because taking a break from the computer screen will reduce the strain that you have on your eyes, because so many people interpret eye strain or eye fatigue with being tired in general, and they're not really tired, it's that their eyes are strained. So that's one of the easiest things to do. Yes, a computer, an iPhone, or a phone,
yeah.
any kind of phone that you're staring at. And Perry, people stay at a computer for hours and hours.
And hours.
It's unlimited what you can do in front of a computer, not only work, but all the other things that people do. So it's really important to take a break. I actually don't think you should go 2 hours in front of a computer. I think it should be less than that, more like an hour maximum. And it's kind of so habitual now, our staring at a computer or a phone, that you really have to kind of make yourself do that. So that's the easiest thing you can do to reduce eye strain, which we're interpreting as fatigue. The other thing that you can do is plan your workouts. Now, I try to get this, try to get my staff to do this, is sometime during the afternoon on your lunch break or your break at work, or if you're at home, step outside. Now, even if the weather's not that good, just getting up and moving your lower extremities, where most of the blood flow is in your lower extremities, will absolutely wake up your body, because you're increasing your circulation. At the very minimum, what we should be doing is what you guys were doing in the previous show, is standing up.
Yeah.
And so many people now are moving to a stand-up desk, where you're actually getting some exercise by standing up. You burn more calories standing up, you keep the circulation going. So sitting for long periods of time, not only, like I said, looking at the computer screen, but just sitting for long periods of time makes you very stagnant and causes fatigue, especially in the afternoon. You know, we wake up in the morning and we have all of this great energy, typically, unless there's something wrong with you, and we get all of this done, all of this work done in the morning hours, emails and whatever housework, whatever we're doing, and then we just completely fry ourselves in the afternoon, because that's when we sit down and we keep staring at a screen and not moving around. So it's very easy to get up and start moving around.
By the way, that was proven. They did a test where they showed people who were doing a light treadmill with a workout counter at their computer.
Yes.
They had a higher percentage of not only retention but productivity.
Yes.
You know,
it's very good for the memory.
I was in the hospital the other day visiting somebody, and I saw these new little computer things they have on the screens, or the stands they roll around.
Yes.
The little tripod thing. I thought, I got to get a bunch of those for the staff.
I know.
Because they go up and down, you can sit there, you can stand up and work on them.
I know, it seems kind of silly, like why would we do that? But all of these things make a difference in not only our overall health. I mean, we can burn more calories, but it keeps our body more awake instead of hitting these slumps, especially in the afternoon. Sipping green tea. Now, I know I don't have green tea this morning. That will come this afternoon. Okay. But green tea is not only filled with wonderful antioxidants, it is an antioxidant, but it also will help wake you up, but not overstimulate you. The other tea that I really like, although you really shouldn't be drinking it after about 3 p.m., is whole root licorice tea.
Really?
Now, licorice tea, it doesn't actually taste like licorice, so a lot of people say, well, I don't like black licorice, or I don't like red licorice. I don't want you to eat licorice. But whole root licorice tea is somewhat of a stimulant, because it supports your adrenal glands, your stress glands. And many times that's what's hitting a low in the afternoon, is that we're kind of running out of steam or adrenaline in the afternoon because we've used it all up in the morning. So sipping some licorice, whole root licorice tea is really tasty, by the way. It has a little tiny bit of a sweet flavor to it, but not a licorice flavor. Okay. So that's something you can do too.
I've never heard of the licorice tea, but all right.
Whole root licorice tea, yes. Don't put anything else in it. Having a snack. Now, you talked about what to eat at lunch, and it's so true that we really need to be having protein, but it should start at breakfast time. So if you're loading up in the morning with high sugar or low fiber carbohydrates, so like let's say a bowl of cereal, and there's no protein or very little protein in the morning, the problem is that you're going to hit a mid-morning slump, and then you'll probably overeat at lunch and then hit an afternoon slump. So we want to eat a fair amount of protein in the morning, at least 14 grams of protein in the morning. So that would be equivalent to 1 egg is 7 grams of protein. So ideally, we should be having at least 2 eggs in the morning. Now that doesn't mean that you have to have the yolks with the egg, but you could maybe have 1 yolk and 2 or 3 egg whites. That would be an excellent amount of protein in the morning. And there's other ways you can get protein. But here's the deal with protein. Protein is an amino acid, and amino acids, particularly the amino acid tyrosine, is a direct precursor to the neurotransmitters dopamine and norepinephrine. And those 2 neurotransmitters are really important for creating more alertness, more attention, more energy. So if we don't have protein in our lunch, we're not going to have the stimulation to those neurotransmitters that are going to keep us awake and alert to get us through the afternoon hours till we get to dinner. So that's one of the things that's so important about protein. It's not just about blood sugar balance, even though protein helps with that. It's also about what it's doing to our brain. It's actually waking our brain up. So we have to have that.
All right, let me take a quick break. We come back. I have one question for you to ponder while we're taking a break. If somebody has the highs and lows of sugar, is that a real possibility that they're diabetic, or can they have that and not be diabetic?
That's usually something that can happen for up to 10 years before they become diabetic. So certainly that could be a pre-diabetic sign.
Woo.
And we should talk about that.
All right, we'll be right back with Nisha Jackson. And by the way, it's ventanawellness.com. Check it out. We'll be right back. Okay, we're back with Nisha Jackson, and she heads up Ventana Wellness. And we're talking about something I think we all suffer with, and that's that afternoon fatigue. And there are some things we can do to avoid it. And I have to tell you, one day last week, Nisha, I had a complete blowout, and I knew I did it. I just knew I did the wrong thing. But I was hungry, I hadn't eaten anything, and there was a gazillion snacks all around, and that's all I did. I did this complete waste out on sugar.
Right.
And I thought, I'm really going to suffer with this, headaches, sore joints, the whole 9 yards.
Yes.
So I went and grabbed a lot of water, and I just started drinking a lot of water. I minimized the problem, but I didn't wipe it out.
Yes. Actually, aspirin, and I really believe this is one of the reasons why aspirin, not Tylenol and not Advil or ibuprofen, but aspirin.
Yeah.
This is why I really believe that aspirin reduces the incidence of heart events or heart disease. You know, the doctors say take 1 aspirin a day, a baby aspirin a day. Aspirin actually is an antidote to insulin. So it's the insulin that makes you feel so bad when you eat sugar on an empty stomach. So if you, like you just said, your crash where you know, when you wait too long to eat, or you've eaten sugar and then your sugar levels drop, your brain is screaming sugar, it is not screaming broccoli. Yeah. Right? So you have the sugar and it raises the insulin, and it's that inflammatory response that you get from insulin that causes the headache and the irritability and the achy joints and muscles. Really? So aspirin is actually an antidote to that. So you could take 1 or 2 aspirins with a lot of water, and that would reduce the effect.
I take my aspirin at night, not in the morning.
What's that?
I take the aspirin at night before I go to bed. I sleep much better when I do that.
Interesting. Yeah, a lot of people do.
Yeah. So we're talking about some things you can do. Breakfast is very important.
Yes, breakfast is very important. At least 14 grams of protein, but the same with lunch. Because remember, what we're trying to avoid is we're trying to avoid a steep incline of sugar and then a rapid drop off. Because every time it drops off, your brain's going to be screaming more sugar and then take a nap. So we're trying to avoid that. So eating more high fiber during lunch and protein. And that goes for dinner too. Some people can't make it to bedtime because they're eating too much starch at dinner. We really shouldn't be having any starch at dinner, to be honest with you, because we're not going to be able to burn those quick carbohydrates off because we're more sedentary at nighttime. So the other thing, as you mentioned, was staying hydrated. So I always use the picture, try to get the visual of your pansies in a pot at your front door, being scorched by the sun, and they're all droopy. And then you can literally pour water on them, and within seconds they look perked up. It's exactly the way our body is. So hydrating yourself, 11 to 16 cups of water a day. So you can do 8 glasses of water a day or about 11 cups of water a day. So that's about how much you need, and we really aren't doing that much in the winter time. So we have to be careful about that, because that is the #1 cause of fatigue, is dehydration. So by the time you feel thirsty, you're already dehydrated. So you shouldn't be waiting till you feel thirsty to drink water. Also, if you're a caffeine drinker, you need to know that caffeine dehydrates you. So you need to drink more water if you're a caffeine drinker. We talked about standing up, but we didn't really talk very much about stretching your muscles. So even if you're having to sit, because some people do sit in their job all day long, you could stand up and stretch, or you can do stretching exercises where you're sitting. There isn't any reason why you couldn't be pushing back your shoulders, which is the whole posture technique to increase your energy throughout the afternoon. Because so many people slump, it actually takes more energy from a circulation standpoint when you're slumping, as opposed to putting your shoulders back and down and getting your spine a little bit more straight. So
what about all right, I'm going to have this slump, and I want something to boost me. I mean, a lot of people will run and get one of those energy drinks. They feel that thing coming on, and they go get one of those. Now even Mountain Dew's come out with one. I don't know what they call it, the Zap or something.
Right, right.
I mean, which is horrible stuff, but they're looking for something to give them a boost. What do you recommend?
Yes, so I recommend actually getting Smart Water. If you want something that has some taste to it, Smart Water is an excellent choice. The first thing that you should be doing is drinking water with lemon in it. So before you go to one of those terrible drinks, I would recommend a full glass. Ice water would be better with lemon squeezed in. And this, if you're working, this is something you could do before you leave in the morning, is take a glass bottle, fill it up with water, put lemon in it, and keep it in the refrigerator at work. So that's what I would recommend. Hydrate yourself before you go for something sweet. Make yourself drink 8 ounces of cold water, or 2 glasses of cold water before you make a choice to either take Advil for your headache, drink some kind of a jolt drink to get your blood sugar, sky high, and your caffeine level sky high. Do the water first and see what happens. But also reevaluate what you've been doing in the last 2 hours, because if you've been sitting for too long, or you had high sugar at lunch, you're going to be hitting the lull. We talked about the diabetes, and I do want to touch on that a little bit, that if you have low blood sugar, that is a precursor to diabetes. Because what happens is that people who make too much insulin, so we talked about you eat sugary foods or foods that are more starch types of foods, and vegetarians seem to do this a lot, where they eat a lot of starch because they're trying to avoid protein. Animal protein, so they eat crackers and breads and things like that throughout the day, and they wonder why they don't feel so good. Not that vegetarianism is bad, it's just that if you eat too much starch, it's not good for your system. Those foods raise insulin. The more insulin you make, the lower your blood sugar gets. So if you've been diagnosed with low blood sugar, it could be a precursor to diabetes. So that is something we really want to control.
And that's preventable.
It is completely preventable. So, and it's preventable by staying physically active and making sure that you are avoiding a lot of those foods that cause your blood sugar to go straight up and straight down. The other obvious thing that we have to talk about is getting enough sleep, because your adrenaline will only carry you so far in the morning. So those sleep signals will be much stronger at 2 o'clock in the afternoon if you've not slept at night. So again, if you're under stress, you need about 8 to 10 hours of sleep at night, which is the exact opposite of what people do. When they're under stress, they sleep less. Their mind's going, they're going to bed later because they're trying to fit more into their day, they're waking up earlier. So 8 to 10 hours of sleep at night if you're under stress, which may be the entire population.
Yeah, right.
If you're taking good care of yourselves, you could be able to get away with 7 to 8 hours of sleep, but really never less than 7. So that's something to really look at, because that's kind of the no-brainer approach to avoiding the afternoon slump, is making sure that you've slept enough during the day.
Wow. Well, I did some catching up over the weekend. I took naps.
Good.
I was just tired.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I took a nap.
Yeah. Reset your system.
Yeah. Does thyroid play into this at all?
Thyroid does play into it. In fact, one of the questions I always ask my patients when they come in and I'm doing a hormone evaluation on them, I ask them, how much are you hitting the wall in the afternoon? Because one of the telltale signs of low thyroid is that they really hit the wall much more than they ever have in the past in the afternoon. Especially if they're doing everything right. They're eating well, they're staying physically active, and they're still just absolutely exhausted in the afternoon. That is one of the things that's very predominant with low thyroid, amongst many other things. Dryness of the skin, hair loss, emotional instability, depression, weight gain, low metabolism. So all of those things even add to the fatigue even more. The other thing that I want to touch on is because the protein helps the neurotransmitter dopamine. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter that not only helps with alertness and being awake and very focused, but it also is really important for improving your overall sense of well-being. And a lot of people don't really have that sense of well-being. They feel kind of unsettled. So it could be something that's going on in their life, but it could be that dopamine levels are low. So the easiest way that we can raise dopamine is getting good protein in our diet, and maybe even taking a supplement, a tyrosine supplement. That's an amino acid. It's very safe to use, but that could be something that people need more of. The unfortunate thing, Perry, is that many people, to raise dopamine levels, will go to some kind of a drug to do it. They will go to cigarettes, they will go to alcohol, they will go to some kind of drug, they'll go to sugar, they'll go to something else to try to find it, because their brain's telling them your dopamine levels are low. And the way you fix that is you do this. You buy one of these Zap, Jolt, whatever drinks. And that's not the answer. The answer is to fix the underlying problem, which I think is so important. But we never really think about what is the underlying problem.
I don't know if stamina is part of this discussion. Maybe it is, but it's amazing to me how many people, myself included, I think the older you get, you have, it kind of fades on you. But I've also known that you can reverse that by what you eat.
Yes.
But I'm surprised how many people get older and they think, well, I'm just older, so I'm just going to, wear out sooner, and they just give up.
Right. I never know if it's just that people don't want to believe that it could be that easy, that I could monitor my diet. I could cut out sugar or significantly reduce the sugar in my diet, significantly reduce the white flour or flour products in general in my diet, and I could feel great, like great. Great energy throughout the day, really good mood, very optimistic. My brain is functioning at a very high level. Maybe they just don't want to believe that that really could happen, that it could be that easy.
Well, give it a shot.
But it's worth a shot, especially Monday through Friday.
Yeah.
If you want to be sharp Monday through Friday, these are the things that you have to be religious about because they work.
Okay, well, bring it in for a landing. We got a couple minutes there. How would you wrap this up?
Okay, stand up straight. Get those shoulders back and down. Get that posture nice and perfectly straight.
Okay, I'll sit in my chair. There we go.
Because that uses less energy and increases circulation. Oh. Do some stretching exercises. If you've been looking at a computer screen for more than 1 to 2 hours, it's time to take a break. Get your eyes off the screen. Walk down the hallway. Go talk to somebody. Maybe go outside. Get some fresh air, moving your body every 1 to 2 hours. If you're sitting for more than 1 to 2 hours, you are going to have fatigue. Drinking 1 full glass of ice water or 2 full glasses of ice water with lemon in it before you make any drastic decisions about having an energy drink or another cup of coffee. Try that first, or having something sweet. Because people, when they're tired, they go for sugar. So that is one thing that we're trying to move away from. Having protein at breakfast and some protein at lunch, but also some good carbohydrate. Fruits and vegetables, high fiber carbohydrates are good to have, and avoiding the starch after about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. There you have it. Pretty simple.
Pretty simple.
Tyrosine, the amino acid that's awesome for focus and attention.
There you go. VentanaWellness.com, and you won't find any ads for C's Candy along the side of her website.
It's so good, though.
Oh, it is so good. I got some for Valentine's Day. How do you say no to C's Candy?
I know. The chocolate. Okay, don't get me started. No.
Well, chocolate's good.
Just a little bit of it.
Oh, okay.
1 ounce.
Okay. Anyway, there's some good tips for you today. VentanaWellness.com, great resource, great clinic, and a lot of physicians and specialists there to help you. So check it out, VentanaWellness.com. Thanks, Nisha.
Thank you.
All right, we'll see you next time. We'll be right back.